I thought I had it all figured out. My career as an architect in Boston was taking off. I had just bought a condo overlooking the harbor, and I was engaged to Amanda, the woman I thought was the love of my life. We had been planning our fall wedding in Vermont for months, picking out everything from the rustic venue to the seasonal flowers. My younger brother Jason was going to be my best man. We had always been close despite his tendency to make poor choices. I never imagined he would make the one choice that would destroy my life. Before I share how my world collapsed in a single night, let me know where you are watching from in the comments. Hit that like and subscribe button. If you have ever had trust completely broken by those closest to you, trust me, what happened next will make your jaw drop. I met Amanda 3 years ago at my college friend's art gallery opening. She was this vibrant, dark-haired woman in a red dress who kept asking insightful questions about the architectural influences in the paintings. I could not help but introduce myself. We talked until the gallery closed, and I asked her to dinner the following night. Our connection was instant and deep. She was a graphic designer with her own freelance business, creative and passionate about her work, just like I was about mine. Amanda fit perfectly into my life. She got along great with my family, especially my mother, who had always been particular about the women I dated. Even Jason seemed to genuinely like her, though he was going through a rough patch when we first started dating. He had dropped out of college the year before and was working dead-end jobs while trying to figure out his life. I always felt responsible for him as the older brother. Our family had always been tight-knit. Growing up in suburban Connecticut, our parents instilled in us the importance of family loyalty above all else. Dad ran his own construction business, and Mom was an elementary school teacher. They were strict, but loving, though they definitely played favorites. Jason was always the one who needed more help, more attention, more forgiveness for his mistakes. I was the reliable one, the achiever, the one who did not need as much guidance. Despite his flaws, I loved my brother. We had a standing tradition of weekend fishing trips at our uncle's lake house. Those quiet mornings on the water were when Jason would really open up about his struggles, and I would offer advice. I helped him financially when he needed it, coached him through job interviews, and always defended him to our parents when he messed up. The past year had been good for both of us. I had received a promotion at my architectural firm, and Jason had finally found steady work as a sales representative for a software company. He seemed to be getting his life together at last. I was proud of him, and excited that he appeared stable enough to be my best man. Amanda and I spent 8 months planning our wedding. We had found this beautiful converted barn in Vermont, with mountain views that perfectly combined her love of rustic charm and my appreciation for thoughtful design. Every weekend was filled with tastings, meetings with vendors, and debating tiny details that seemed so important at the time. Looking back, I should have noticed the warning signs. In the final weeks before the wedding, Amanda became increasingly stressed and distant. I attributed it to wedding pressure and her busy work schedule. She started having more girls' nights out, coming home late, smelling like wine and cigarettes even though she did not smoke. There were mysterious phone calls she would take in another room, hushed conversations that stopped when I entered. 2 weeks before the wedding, my parents hosted a family dinner to celebrate. Extended family from both sides attended along with our wedding party. I noticed strange glances between Jason and Amanda throughout the night. At one point, I found them having an intense conversation on the patio, but they quickly separated when I approached. Jason claimed they were just discussing his best man speech. I believed him because I had no reason not to trust either of them. The following Friday, Amanda was in the shower when her phone kept buzzing with text messages. I had never been the jealous type who checked her phone, but something felt off. The screen lit up with a message preview from Jason that made my blood run cold. We need to tell him before the wedding. I cannot keep living with this guilt. When Amanda came out wrapped in a towel, her face fell when she saw me holding her phone. Why is my brother texting you about telling me something before the wedding? I asked, my voice steady despite the panic rising in my chest. She sat down on the bed, clutching the towel tightly. For a moment she said nothing, just stared at the floor as tears began streaming down her face. Eddie, I am so sorry, she finally whispered. I never meant for this to happen. For what to happen, I demanded, though I already knew it would be devastating. Jason and I, we. She struggled to form the words. We have been seeing each other. It started 3 months ago at your birthday party, when you were busy with the clients who showed up. I remembered that night. I had invited some important potential clients to my birthday celebration at a local brewery, hoping the casual setting would help secure a big contract. I had spent much of the evening talking business while Amanda entertained herself. That is not even the worst part, she continued, her voice breaking. I am pregnant, Eddie. 6 weeks. It is Jason's baby. The room seemed to tilt around me. I felt numb, disconnected from my body, like I was watching this scene play out from above. All I could think was how stupid I had been. All those late nights, the secretive phone calls, the strange tension I had dismissed. Get out, I said quietly. Eddie, please, we need to talk about this. Get out. I roared, a sound so primal and full of pain that Amanda flinched. Pack your things and get out of my home, now. She dressed quickly and threw some essentials in a bag, crying the entire time. I stood silently by the door, unable to look at her. Where will you go? I asked. Not out of concern, but morbid curiosity. Jason's place, she admitted. He said I could stay there until we figure things out. Of course he had. My brother had it all planned out. After she left, I got in my car and drove the 20 minutes to Jason's apartment in a state of shock. My hands gripped the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles turned white. I did not remember the drive there at all. I pounded on his door until he opened it, looking like he expected me. Before he could speak, my fist connected with his jaw, sending him stumbling backward into his apartment. I followed, shutting the door behind me. How could you? I demanded, advancing on him as he backed away. My fiancée. My fiancée. Eddie, I am sorry, he said, holding his hands up defensively. It just happened. We did not plan it. Things like this do not just happen. I grabbed him by his shirt collar and slammed him against the wall. You have been screwing my fiancée behind my back for 3 months, and now she is pregnant with your child. 2 weeks before my wedding, I love her, he said, and something in me snapped. I am not proud of what happened next. I had never been a violent person, but I beat my brother bloody that night. He did not even fight back much, just tried to protect his face as I unleashed years of resentment along with this fresh betrayal. It was always supposed to be you, right? I spat as he slumped to the floor. The favorite child, the one who needed saving. Well, congratulations, you have taken the one thing that was mine that had nothing to do with you. Jason looked up at me, blood trickling from his split lip. Eddie, please. We can work this out. The baby needs a family. I stepped back, suddenly disgusted with myself and with him. You are not my family anymore, I said, and walked out. I returned to my empty apartment and sat in the dark until morning. The next few days passed in a blur of pain and logistics. I had to call all the wedding vendors to cancel, losing thousands in deposits. I contacted our guests, making up a vague excuse about irreconcilable differences rather than sharing the humiliating truth. My parents called repeatedly, but I ignored them. I knew they had to be aware of what happened by now, and I could not bear to hear their voices. I took a week off work, claiming a family emergency, which was not exactly a lie. When I finally agreed to meet my parents, they came to my apartment with solemn faces, but something else in their eyes that I could not quite place. We know you are hurting, son, my father said, sitting uncomfortably on my couch. But we need to talk about how to move forward as a family. Move forward, I echoed incredulously. My brother and fiancé betrayed me in the worst possible way. And you want to talk about moving forward? My mother reached for my hand, which I pulled away. Eddie, dear, what happened is terrible, but Jason is truly sorry. He made a horrible mistake. A mistake is forgetting to pay a bill, or being late to a dinner. He had an affair with my fiancée for months and got her pregnant. He is still your brother, my father said firmly. And that baby is your blood too. That was when I realized what they expected of me. They wanted me to forgive this unforgivable betrayal, to welcome Jason and Amanda back into the fold, to pretend we could all be one big happy family. I laughed, a hollow sound that seemed to startle them. You cannot be serious. We are just asking you to consider working through this, my mother said. Blood is thicker than water, Eddie. Family comes first. We raised you to understand that. I realized then that they had already been in contact with Amanda and Jason, that they were already taking sides, and it was not mine. Get out, I said for the second time that week. I need time to think. They left reluctantly, my mother in tears, my father wearing his disappointed face that had always worked so well to control me in the past. A week later, I received a text from my mother asking me to come to their house for a family meeting to resolve this situation. Against my better judgment, I went hoping for some kind of justice, or at least acknowledgement of the pain I was suffering. I walked into an ambush. Jason and Amanda were sitting on the couch, her still flat stomach covered protectively by her hands. My parents flanked them like security guards. 4 against 1. What is this? I demanded, stopping in the doorway. Please sit down, Eddie, my mother said gently. We all need to talk. I have nothing to say to them, I replied. But I moved to the armchair furthest from the couch and sat rigidly. My father cleared his throat. Son, we have been talking a lot about this situation, and we think it is time for everyone to put their cards on the table. Jason and Amanda have something to say to you. Jason leaned forward, looking appropriately ashamed, but with something else in his expression. Relief entitlement, Eddie. What Amanda and I did was wrong. We betrayed your trust in the worst way, and I will regret that for the rest of my life. But Amanda continued, and I flinched at her voice. We cannot change what happened. We are expecting a baby now, and that baby deserves a chance at a real family. My mother jumped in. Eddie, dear, we think you need to be the bigger person here. Your brother made a terrible mistake, but he is still your brother. Nothing can change that. And the baby is innocent in all this. My father added. That child is part of our family. I sat in stunned silence as they continued talking about forgiveness and moving forward. How Jason and Amanda had genuine feelings for each other. How the baby would need its uncle in its life. How I needed to set aside my pride for the good of the family. Have you all lost your minds? I finally interrupted. You want me to forgive them? To what end? So we can all have Thanksgiving dinner together, while I watch my brother raise a family, with the woman who was supposed to be my wife. It would not be easy. At first my father conceded, but in time, what? The pain will go away, I will get over it. Are you hearing yourselves? I stood up and paced the room, unable to contain my energy. How long have you known about this? Before or after I found out? My parents exchanged a glance that told me everything. You knew before I did, I said flatly. For how long? Just a week before you found out, my mother admitted quietly. Jason came to us for advice. We told him they needed to tell you right away, but you did not think to tell me yourselves, to warn me that my life was about to implode. We thought it should come from them, my father said. And since I found out, have you been in contact with them this whole time? More guilty looks. We have been trying to support everyone through this difficult time, my mother said. Support everyone. Support everyone. My voice rose with each word. Have either of you called to check if I am eating, sleeping? If I have thought about driving my car off a bridge? No, because you have been too busy coddling the people who destroyed my life. That is not fair, Eddie, my father said sternly. And watch your tone in this house. Not fair. You want to talk to Emmy about what is fair? I laughed bitterly. Let me tell you what is not fair. It is not fair that I have to cancel my wedding because my brother could not keep his hands off my fiancée. It is not fair that I have lost the two people I trusted most in one day. And it is definitely not fair that my parents are now asking me to smile and forgive like nothing happened. Jason stood up, putting his arm around Amanda. Eddie, we never meant to hurt you. It just happened. And now we are in love. In love. I repeated the words, tasting like poison. How convenient for you both. The baby changes everything, Amanda said softly. We need to think about what is best for the child now. And what about what is best for me? Does anyone in this room care about that? Silence filled the room. That was my answer. Then came the final betrayal. My mother spoke up hesitantly. Jason and Amanda are going to need some financial help with the baby coming. Your father and I have offered to help them with a down payment on a house. What I whispered as the floor seemed to drop out from under me. They need a proper home for the baby, my father explained. Jason's apartment is too small, and Amanda cannot work as much during the pregnancy. We had been saving that money for both of you boys anyway. The money they had promised to give both of us for our future homes. The money I had been counting on to help Amanda and me start our life together. Now, it was going entirely to Jason and the woman who had betrayed me. So not only do I lose my fiancé and brother, but I also lose my inheritance to them. Is that what you are telling me? Not all of it. My father clarified, as if that made it better. Just enough to get them started. When you find someone new and settle down, when I find someone new, I echoed in disbelief. I was 2 weeks away from marrying the woman I loved. I am supposed to just go out and find a replacement. Eddie. My mother pleaded, tears in her eyes. You need to be part of the solution here. If you cannot find it in your heart to forgive, at least try to be civil, for the family's sake. That was when I knew I was never going to win this battle. In their eyes, Jason would always be the one who needed more protection, more help, more forgiveness. Even now, when he had committed the ultimate betrayal, they were rallying around him. I was expected to set aside my pain because I was the responsible one, the one who could handle it. I will tell you what the solution is, I said, my voice dangerously calm. The solution is that all of you can go to hell. Edward James Thompson. My father thundered, using my full name like I was a child. You will not speak to your family that way. You are not my family anymore, I said and meant it. A real family would not ask me to sacrifice my dignity and mental health to make things easier for the people who betrayed me. Amanda started crying, great heaving sobs that once would have broken my heart. Now they just fueled my anger. Eddie, please, she begged. I never meant for any of this to happen. I still care about you. Save it, I spat. If you cared about me, you would not have slept with my brother behind my back for months. You would not have come here today expecting me to give you my blessing. I turned to Jason, who at least had the decency to look ashamed. And you, my own brother, the person I trusted most in the world. I defended you my entire life. Gave you money when you needed it, listened to your problems. And this is how you repay me. I am sorry, he whispered, but it was empty, meaningless. If you try to contact me again, I said to all of them, if any of you come near me or my home, I will file for a restraining order. I mean it. We are done. My mother gasped. You cannot mean that. We are your parents, and he is your son too, I said, pointing at Jason. You have made your choice clear. Now I am making mine. I walked out of that house and did not look back. It was the last time I would see any of them for nearly a year. The next few weeks were the darkest of my life. I moved through my days like a ghost going to work, because I had to then coming home to an empty apartment that still held traces of Amanda everywhere. I started drinking too much, staying up late, staring at walls, ignoring calls from concerned friends. The humiliation was almost worse than the betrayal, having to explain to everyone why there would be no wedding, seeing the pity in their eyes. The whispered conversations that stopped when I entered a room. I pulled away from everyone, unable to trust, unable to connect. I had nightmares where I would see Amanda and Jason together laughing at me, showing off their baby. I would wake up sweating and shaking, unable to get back to sleep. I lost weight, lost interest in my work, lost my grip on the future I had so carefully planned. One night, about a month after the blow-up with my family, I was sitting alone at a bar when I heard a familiar voice. Eddie Thompson, is that you? I looked up to see Professor Harris, my favorite teacher from architecture school. He was retired now, but had been a mentor to me during college and the early years of my career. Professor, I said, attempting a smile that felt foreign on my face. What are you doing here? Meeting some old colleagues, he said, studying my face with concern. Mind if I join you for a moment? I shrugged, and he sat on the stool beside me, ordering a scotch. You look like hell, son, he said bluntly. Thanks, I muttered. Been a rough couple of months. I heard about the wedding. I am sorry. I tensed, waiting for the platitudes, the awkward attempts at comfort. Instead, he surprised me. My wife of 15 years left me for my business partner, he said, matter-of-factly. This was years before I taught you. We had 2 kids together. I found out when I came home early from a conference, and found them in my bed. I looked at him with new eyes. I did not know. Not something I advertise, he said, sipping his drink. But I see that look in your eyes. I had it too. That my life is over look. How did you get past it? I asked, suddenly desperate for a roadmap out of this darkness. First, I realized I was giving them too much power. Every day I spent hating them was another day they controlled my life. Second, I got the hell out of there. Took a teaching position across the country. Started fresh where nobody knew me as the poor bastard whose wife cheated with his partner. I considered his words carefully. Did you ever forgive them eventually for my own peace? But forgiveness does not mean reconciliation. I never spoke to my business partner again. My ex-wife and I communicated only about the kids until they were grown. Now we exchange Christmas cards. That is it. He finished his drink and placed a hand on my shoulder. You are a talented architect, Eddie. One of the best students I ever had. Do not let this define the rest of your life. After he left to join his friends, I sat there thinking about his words. I had been letting my family control my emotions, my future, my sense of self. It was time to take that power back. That night I went home and did something I should have done weeks ago. I updated my resume and started researching architectural firms in other cities. I came across a cutting-edge, sustainable design firm in Seattle that was looking for someone with exactly my experience level and specialties. By morning, I had submitted my application. 2 weeks and 3 interviews later, I had an offer with a significant pay increase and creative freedom I had never had in my current position. I gave notice at work, sold my condo and most of my possessions, and prepared for a complete fresh start. I blocked my family's numbers after weeks of harassment. Tearful voicemails from my mother, stern lectures from my father, pathetic apologies from Jason, and even a few desperate messages from Amanda claiming she missed my father. Friendship. The day before I left, I wrote my parents a letter explaining my decision. I told them I needed space and time to heal. I did not give them my new address or phone number. I explained that I would reach out if and when I was ready. I made it clear that reconciliation with Jason or Amanda was not on the table now or ever. Driving away from Boston across the country to Seattle was the most liberating experience of my life. With each mile, I felt the weight lifting from my shoulders. For the first time in months, I could breathe without pain. Seattle welcomed me with its stunning landscapes, vibrant architecture, and best of all, anonymity. No one here knew my story. No one looked at me with pity or whispered behind my back. I was just Eddie, the new architect from the East Coast, with fresh ideas and energy. My new firm paired me with challenging creative projects that rekindled my passion for design. I rented a small but modern apartment, with a view of Puget Sound, filling it with only things that had no connection to my previous life. Still, healing takes time. The first few months were lonely. I worked long hours, partly from enthusiasm for my new job, but mostly to avoid the empty apartment. Weekends stretched endlessly when you have no friends or family to fill them. Then I discovered a local hiking group that met on Saturday mornings. Despite being an indoor person for most of my life, I found peace in the mountains around Seattle. The physical exertion cleared my mind, and gradually I began opening up to the other regular hikers. Among them was Lauren, a wildlife photographer, with a quick laugh and thoughtful eyes. Unlike Amanda's whirlwind personality, Lauren had a steadiness to her that I found comforting. We started meeting for coffee after hikes, then dinner, then weekend explorations of the Washington coast. I was hesitant to trust again, but Lauren was patient. When I finally told her my story 6 months into our friendship, she listened without judgment. "They failed you," she said simply when I finished. "All of them. You deserved better." Those words, so straightforward yet so validating, broke something open in me. For the first time since the betrayal, I cried. Really cried. in front of another person. Lauren held me through it, and afterward I felt lighter, as if poison had been drawn from a wound. With Lauren's encouragement, I started seeing a therapist. Doctor Wilson helped me understand that my family's behavior was part of a dysfunctional pattern that had existed long before Jason's betrayal. I had always been expected to be the rock, the one who sacrificed his needs for others. Setting boundaries was not selfish. It was necessary for my survival. Slowly, I built a new life. I made friends through work and the hiking group. I excelled at my job, earning recognition for my innovative approaches to sustainable urban housing. Lauren and I grew closer, our relationship built on mutual respect and honesty. For nearly a year, I had no contact with my family. I heard occasionally from old friends in Boston that Jason and Amanda were still together preparing for the baby. I felt nothing when I heard this news. Not anger, not pain, not even satisfaction. Just a dull acknowledgement of facts that no longer affected me. Then one rainy Seattle Sunday, there was a knock at my door. I opened it to find my parents standing there looking older and uncertain. Eddie, my mother breathed, reaching for me. I stepped back, maintaining the physical boundary. "How did you find me?" I asked calmly. "Your old boss," my father admitted. "We told him it was a family emergency. I made no move to invite them in." "Is it?" They exchanged glances. "We need to talk to you," my father said. "Please." Against my better judgment, I let them in. They sat awkwardly on my couch, taking in the unfamiliar apartment that bore no traces of the son they had known. "You look well," my mother offered. "The West Coast agrees with you." "I am well," I confirmed. "Why are you here?" They exchanged another glance before my father spoke. "It is about Jason and Amanda. Things have not worked out between them." I felt nothing. Not surprise, not vindication. "And Amanda lost the baby," my mother said softly. 3 months ago. Jason is devastated. He has been drinking, lost his job. He needs his brother, Eddie. I looked at these people, my parents, and suddenly saw them clearly. They had never come for me. They had never flown across the country when I was devastated. They were here for Jason as always. "I am sorry about the miscarriage," I said, and meant it. No one should have to go through that. But it changes nothing between us. Eddie, my father, leaned forward. "It is time to put this behind us. Come home. The holidays are coming up. The family needs to be together." "The family?" I repeated. "You mean Jason needs me to come home and make him feel better about destroying my life? To absolve him of his guilt?" "He is your brother," my mother pleaded. "Blood is thicker than water." I laughed softly. "You know you say that a lot. But the full proverb is the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. It means the exact opposite of how you use it. It means the bonds we choose are stronger than the ones we are born into." I gestured around my apartment. "I have chosen a new life here. I have people who respect my boundaries and care about my happiness. I have peace. So you are just going to abandon your family when things get tough?" My father demanded, his voice rising. "That is not how we raised you." "No," I agreed. "You raised me to be the responsible one. The one who always had to be understanding when Jason messed up. The one who had to set aside his own needs for the greater good of the family. I am done with that role." "That is selfish," my mother said, tears in her eyes, "and heartless." I shook my head. "No, what is heartless is expecting me to comfort the people who betrayed me. What is selfish is flying across the country not to check on my well-being, but to try to drag me back into a toxic dynamic to make your lives easier." I walked to my desk and pulled out a folder. "These are emails and text messages from both of you over the past year. Notice how not once do you ask how I am doing. Every message is about how my absence is affecting Jason or you or extended family. Every single one asks me to be the bigger person without acknowledging the magnitude of what was done to me." My father's face reddened. "We have apologized for not handling things perfectly. This is not about perfect. This is about basic respect and decency." I put the folder away. "I do not hate any of you anymore. I have worked hard to let go of that anger. But I do not trust you, and I do not want you in my life. So that is it, my mother asked, her voice breaking. We are just not your parents anymore. You will always be my parents, I said gently. But being family does not give you the right to demand access to my life, especially when that access hurts me. I have found real happiness here. I would think, if you truly loved me, that would matter to you. There was a long silence. Finally, my father stood. If you change your mind, you know how to reach us. My mother hugged me stiffly before they left. I watched from my window as they got into their rental car and drove away. The weight I had expected to feel never came. Instead, I felt lighter than ever. When Lauren came over that evening, I told her about their visit. Are you okay? She asked, genuine concern in her eyes. Actually, yes, I said, surprising myself with the truth of it. For the first time, I stood up to them without anger or bitterness. I just stated my boundaries clearly. She smiled, squeezing my hand. I am proud of you. That took courage. I called Dr. Wilson that night and shared the breakthrough. He agreed that my calm response showed how far I had come. Forgiveness is not about excusing the behavior or allowing people back into your life, he reminded me. It is about releasing the hold they have on you. 1 year after arriving in Seattle, I was offered a junior partnership at my firm based on the success of my sustainable housing project. Lauren and I moved in together, combining our lives with careful intentionality and open communication. I had built a circle of close friends who knew my history and respected my boundaries, my chosen family. I occasionally received updates about Jason from extended family. He and Amanda had broken up permanently. He was struggling to find steady work and still living with our parents. I felt compassion for him from a distance but maintained my boundaries. What I have learned through this journey is that true family supports your happiness, even when it does not align with their expectations. True family respects your boundaries. True family acknowledges harm when it is done and does not demand forgiveness as a right. I have also learned that while betrayal leaves scars, it does not have to define you. The pain that once consumed me has faded to a dull ache that only occasionally makes itself known. In its place has grown something unexpected: gratitude. Had Jason and Amanda not betrayed me, I might never have found the courage to break free from unhealthy family dynamics. I might never have moved to Seattle, met Lauren, or discovered my capacity for setting boundaries. I do not know if I will ever reconcile with my blood family. That would require genuine change on their part, recognition of the harm done, respect for my autonomy, and acceptance of my new life. Until then, I am at peace with my decision to keep them at a distance. What I do know is that I am no longer waiting for their approval or understanding to live my life. I am building something new, something healthy, something mine. Have you ever had to set difficult boundaries with family? What helped you stand firm when they tried to pressure you into forgiveness before you were ready? Let me know in the comments below, and do not forget to like and subscribe if my quest story resonated with you. Share this video with someone who might need to hear that it is okay to choose their own well-being, even when family pressures them to do otherwise. Thank you for listening. And remember, the family you choose can be stronger than the family you were born into.